People have died for less for Coca-Cola. That's what I'll say.
You know what? That's true. That's very
People
true.
have died drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
Allegedly,
Died for less.
Chad. Allegedly, okay?
Allegedly.
Yeah. Pepsi.
Pepsi. Fuck Pepsi. Let's be honest. Hello and welcome back to the Side Escape Gaming Podcast, episode 90. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles and Ted Libby. How are you guys doing today?
Amazing.
Whoa.
How about you?
Amazing. Can you tell me why you're amazing, James?
Because an amazing trailer dropped today.
Dude.
Right?
We're going to talk about Obi-Wan right now?
Yeah.
Whew.
That
You
was,
know?
I think, because I haven't really watched too much of Boba Fett,
Okay.
so I know I need to.
I thought you watched it.
Nah. I was going to, but then I had to hear like it was as good as Mandalorian.
It's a solid 6.
Now I'm like pumped for this next series. I know it's gonna be like amazing.
This
you can
looks
just tell by the trailer.
This looks infinitely better, and the Boba Fett trailer did not look as good as this looks. This looks There's a lot of like care into this story, which I think is really cool. Ted, Ted, I feel like you are often more critical than I am because I'm a big fan of the hype. You are a little more critical. What do you think of this Obi-Wan show?
We'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Because I genuinely like Ewan McGregor as an actor and as a person. But like as Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's very
He's
good.
great. Yeah.
I enjoyed him in the prequels a whole bunch.
What's hilarious though is he's at a perfect age to be at the point where he is,
Right.
and that's so it's like wow, how'd they line that up?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for what he brings, but I really want to know the story they're gonna build around this. Because, if you watch episode 4, or if you watch 3 into 4, you kind of get this idea that Obi-Wan Kenobi's just kind of being a quirky old man in the desert for a while. Like, he's a little, you know what I mean? Like, and so I don't know if I want them to, like, Star Trek Picard him, where he is going off on doing all of these, like, really big and important adventures, and then the last second he comes back to Tatooine, and we start episode 4.
So,
you know what I mean? Like,
this is the first time a Disney show for Star Wars has said limited series.
I know I saw
what...
that, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about the show is that it's probably just going to be this, which is really cool. I think what I'm very excited about is how they incorporate Hayden Christensen, because I don't think he's just Vader. He's very much going to be Anakin flashbacks or something. We're getting a lot of like, I want to see why Obi-Wan and Anakin's brotherhood was a brotherhood, and I think the show's going to try to do that, which excites me.
I really hope Hayden Christensen like comes to this just like realizing now how big of a deal it is of like, I'm really going to bring my Oscar-winning performance.
I think the thing with him is like, unfortunately, it wasn't just him in the prequels. Like the writing was real bad too. Yeah. And this is going to be way better written. Like the trailer had better dialogue than the prequels.
Do we know who's writing, directing, expertise?
Yes, so Deborah Chow is the director and the showrunner for this. I don't know if she directed every episode, but she was the showrunner. And she directed certain episodes of the first season of The Mandalorian.
Oh, good.
And a lot of them were good. Like
so
the
is
episode.
Favreau gonna be here?
No. I don't know if he's overseeing it. I'm sure Filoni is somehow overseeing it. All the Inquisitors are involved that he created as well. It's really exciting. It's really cool. I love seeing all the Inquisitors. The Grand Inquisitor live action was kind of cool, despite he looked a little janky. But then I'm also very excited because you saw little baby Luke, which I was very excited about, a little like 10-year-old Luke Skywalker being in it. And we've barely seen any of this show. We saw 2 planets, and I think we're going to a bunch of places. So I think what we saw was the first episode or 2. So I'm really excited about it. I think it has the potential to be incredible, and I hope it is.
It's 2 months away.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's really wild. The trailer dropping today was fantastic.
It's a good teaser.
But enough about Obi-Wan Kenobi. As much as that pains me to say, James, as much as that hurts for me to ever say enough about Obi-Wan Kenobi, because this is the 90th episode of the Side Escape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on youtube.com, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles, talk about a gaming-related topic, and what games we are playing. And this week, we are talking about motherfucking Elden Ring. A lot of it. But before we do that, James, I got some news for Ted. Some sad news.
What?
Some sad news for Ted. This comes straight from Nintendo of America's Twitter account. In light of recent world events,
Kirby has been canceled.
What? Yeah.
Kirby's been canceled.
In light of recent world events, we are no longer making Kirby games. No. In light of recent world events, we have made the decision to delay Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which is originally scheduled to release on the Nintendo Switch April 8th. Please stay tuned for updates and more details.
Wow.
Thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
A very interesting and kind of noble decision on Nintendo's part, because they are a toy company for kids.
You mean that they announce something with a release date and then push it back and then push it forward and then push it back?
Right. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. That's cool. That's very noble of them. But I think what's cool about this is because Nintendo really talks about themselves as a toy company for kids. We are just the adults that like this toy company for kids.
Is this like an anti-war related thing?
Yes, that's what it said in light of recent world events. So it's the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
That's dark.
Yeah.
Man.
Because they were like, we don't want to put a game out about war.
Exactly. And for anyone who's played Advanced Wars is the most gung-ho, hoorah, like,
war's good.
Let's do this. Like, you got this guy's attitude about war. Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is pretty crazy.
I mean, it's a interesting decision for them.
I think it's smart. I think it's weirdly smart for Nintendo.
I think it's smart.
Yeah. It also just gives them kind of some good publicity and,
Right.
Speaking of something else, Gotham Knights, the WB Batman game without Batman, releases October 25th, 2022.
Good date.
Cool. There was also a State of Play,
6
James.
days before the events of the movie.
It's true. The movie, very good. Very good. Very good.
I enjoyed it.
James, have you seen the Batman yet?
I have not seen the Batman yet.
Get out to your local Cineplex, buddy.
Yeah.
Go watch Robbie Pats.
A local
I'll go
theater
see it with you.
screen.
I kind of want to watch it a second time.
Really?
Ooh.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
It'll also be on HBO
movie.
Max pretty soon.
I know it's going to be on HBO Max next month.
Yeah. But it's really, I recommend seeing it in the theater. I think it's really cool.
I didn't know it was a 3-hour movie.
It is a 3-hour.
Oh, that's what it is. 3 hours.
You didn't know it was a 3-hour movie before you went in?
Nope.
Oh.
I found out about 25 minutes before. I was
okay.
Like, oh, gosh.
I made my roommate sign on to agree to see it, and then I told him after I bought his ticket that it was 3 hours, and he really liked it. James, you may really like what I'm about to talk about next. Sony had a State of Play, all about Japanese game studios and all of Japanese developers and what they're doing. I'm going to run through everything really quick. Put your hand up if you want me to stop and talk about anything. But I think just going through the announcements, kind of interesting. Also, Forspoken, the game that you were very excited about from Square Enix, has been delayed till October.
Okay. That's understandable.
Yeah. Ghostwire Tokyo launches March 22nd on PC and PS5. No, it looks really bad.
Yeah, I'm not excited for this at all.
I didn't know that. Are you guys really?
It looks really bad.
When it was first announced, I was like, "Oh man, what is this?" And then when we saw what it was, it's very dated. It's like early PS4 kind of.
And I would be concerned that the release date was just announced. I think it's not going to do very well. And they're just like, let's put it out.
I was
2 years ago.
Cautiously optimistic. That's a neat idea.
Was this the Bethesda studio? Or?
Yes, this is a Bethesda game, but it's a PS5 exclusive because of their weird marketing deals before they bought it. Yeah. Ted, you're going to like this. A brand new IP about fighting dinosaurs comes from Capcom. It's called Exo Primal. And it is a co-op dinosaur fighting game.
Is it good?
It's not Monster Hunter.
I'm going to be really honest. I didn't watch a ton of the trailers for this because none of things going to really grab me. So I just went and kind of researched a little bit what they were.
I feel like that Capcom makes a dinosaur hunting game called Monster Hunter.
Yeah, they also make one. What's it called?
But it's not really dinosaur-esque.
Shit. Turok? I don't know. Was that
no, there's another dinosaur game that they do. Dino Crisis. And they didn't do a new Dino Crisis.
They did Dino Crisis?
I think Dino Crisis was them.
Dino Crisis is great. That's like an arcade game.
Yeah.
Time Crisis.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection, is a compilation of various TMNT games from various hardware generations coming later this year.
Sounds cool.
Is that PlayStation exclusive?
No, I think it's coming to many things.
Okay. Do you know what TMNT games?
I know for sure Turtles in Time is definitely in there.
Oh, good.
Is that SNES fighting game in there?
I don't know.
Probably not.
What was that called? Do you know? Or Ted, if you had to guess, what would it be called?
Super TMNT.
Shell Bash.
There it is. Yep. Shell Squabble. Squabble Shell.
Shell Shock.
A new fighting game from the JoJo Bizarre Adventures universe is titled JoJo All-Star Battle R. Is coming to PS4, PS5, early fall 2022.
That's interesting.
Returnal is getting something called the Ascension update. Coming in March 2022 as a free update, will feature both online campaign co-op, which is fucking cool.
I thought you were going to say something.
And
that actually is really cool. That's a game that's multiplayer, right?
Wait, is this a free update?
There's a free update, and they're adding co-op. And co-op was not in this game before. And there's a new survival mode called the Tower of Sisyphus, which is cool. And my guess is that would be an eternal tower because James, as you know, Sisyphus, he pushed a stone up a hill like his whole life.
He pushed Boldy.
Right.
That's what he did. That's what he did.
Yes.
Ted, this one's for you. Gundam Evolution is a free-to-play FPS with 6 players on either team competing in objective-based modes in Gundams.
I'm in.
All right.
Dude, those Gundam games are always just like as Japanese as it gets.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so difficult to even start. I tried playing the mobile game and the fighting game, and I was like, this is too much.
This is the one for you. This is your time.
This is my time, yeah.
Scrap Elden Ring, scrap everything else on your agenda. This is the game. A new action RPG. Yeah.
For the record.
Time out.
I believe the fighting game for TMNT was just called Ultimate Tournament or something like that, and it will be in the Cowabunga collection.
Oh, there you go. It's in the Cowabunga collection. Hey, do you have the what else is in the Cowabunga collection?
No, because all of these articles suck.
All right, cool. A new action RPG from Square Enix called Valkyrie Elysium is a new entry in the Valkyrie series that began with Valkyrie Profile in 1999. It will launch on PS4 and PS5 sometime this year.
Is that the turn-based strategy-ish war game?
No, that's Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah.
Valkyria. Okay.
This is called Valkyrie Elysium. I think this is more like a Square Enix, like Final Fantasy-esque RPG.
Cool.
A new Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin demo is available on PS4 and PS5 today, and the game comes out March 18th. This is their Dark Souls-esque game that apparently the first demo was really not good.
Yeah,
So
I saw the first demo. It was not good.
Yeah, I downloaded it, heard it wasn't good, and I undownloaded it. And Square Enix has announced a new 3D strategy tactics game called The Dio Field Chronicle. And there you go. That was your whole state of play.
Almost as good as Triangle Strategy.
It's almost as good. Triangle Strategy, Ted, did you know it's already out?
I didn't know.
Me neither. And I was excited for this game, and then I saw reviews posting. Yeah. I don't know.
No.
You know, I feel like this is a really bad time to release a game because of Elden Ring.
Yes. I would agree.
Yes.
And we should explain why.
James?
I honestly think that if Steam had a sale called, like, We Know Elden Ring Came Out sale, where they just put a whole bunch of new games on sale, I would, like, that would make a lot of sense.
That would make a lot of sense.
That's the only thing I've been thinking of.
I think it's the only thing anybody's been thinking about. I have talked to so many people playing this game. It's amazing. And what I think is, we're going to talk about Elden Ring. We're going to kind of refresh what we talked about last week. We talked about where we were and what our characters were. We're going to kind of go back into that a little bit. But I think what's really cool about Elden Ring is, did you guys play Metal Gear Solid 5? No.
Yeah, I did.
I know the story, though.
How does this relate?
No, Ted definitely did, because the fucking Kids in America song played in my house for about three weeks straight.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I did do that, but I also played that game at a different time and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. What I think is really great about that game is that it is a mission-based game where we all do the same missions, but everyone has a different story in it. And like how they did a mission is always different. It is always like, oh no, I stealthed this whole thing. Oh, I tried to go in there and alerted all the guards, and then a helicopter came and I booked it on a horse, jumped up on a horse and blew up the helicopter and succeeded. But I think what's really cool is the stories that come with it. There aren't really spoilers in the stories. And when I think of with Elden Ring, I think we can say minor spoilers, because I don't think the spoilers ruin the stories that you have.
I couldn't tell you what a story spoiler was anyway.
Right. So I think when we talk about this game, I think we are allowed to talk about our stories. And like, I was in the lakes area. I was in Limgrave. I was fighting the first. Like, I think we can say that stuff.
Yeah, I think you could definitely talk about the first boss.
My roommate brought up a really funny point of like reading people's experiences in Elden Ring is a lot like being a child explaining the video game you're playing on the playground of like, I went up the hill and I fought a dragon.
Yep.
That's the description you get, because that's all they give you.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
I went into the castle and there was a giant troll monster.
But see, the brilliance of FromSoft, Ted, is there is a story of why that troll monster is in the cave. You just have to find it and understand it.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what's
read
why.
The items. Reading the item descriptions. I came across something so incredible that I want to talk about it, but maybe we'll
item descriptions are the spoilers here.
Yeah, I know.
But it was like such an incredible moment in the game, which I say that all the time with this. What I was telling you, it was like, oh man, this was so incredible. Like everything just keeps like coming down to it, and I think you get to more of the story at the end of the game. Sadly, like you kind of have like this. You're trying to figure out everything. Like, what's going on? Who's this? What is this? How do I live? And then by the end of the game, you're like, oh, this is what's coming.
Whoa, wait. James, have you finished this game?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the like end objective. Like I have the
what you need to do to get to the end.
This is what will be the end kind of thing.
Yeah, because I've heard it's like Breath of the Wild, where like eventually you can just do the end whenever you want to do the end.
A friend told me there's 5 different endings, and you can't just like play them. You have to, if you want to do every single ending, you have to restart the game.
Yes,
which
is crazy.
And then there's New Game Plus too, which
is there really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, let's start from the very beginning. You're gonna say your hours. You're gonna say your character class and your level and your height and your physical height in the real world.
Yeah.
Ted, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay. What was I'm
how many hours?
Must have played this game a lot. I don't know. I told you I was going to check. I didn't check.
You legitimately texted me that yesterday that you were going to check before the podcast. Okay.
I didn't. I was too busy just playing the game. I would say I put about 7 more hours. So we'll say 19, 20 hours in total. I beat the first Elden Lord.
So you beat Godric.
I beat Godric. I'm level 40, 41.
Okay. Nice.
Doing a strength build, but I'm dual wielding two-handed swords right now, and it's stupid.
Nice.
And I'm 6 foot on Tinder.
Same.
Yeah, Ted's about 5'11", guys. Okay. James, why don't you go next?
So yeah, I'm playing the Vagabond?
Vagabond, yep.
Class.
Oh yeah, I'm a hero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I am about 60 hours into the game, I'd say.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I'm approaching level 80 around there. That probably
nice. That's a high ass character.
And I have a shield, a gold shield from one of those little like one of those knights on the road.
Yeah, it's a brass shield or great shield. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah. It's like the brass shield, but like just longer.
Yeah, I have used the brass shield. That's
yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's an okay shield, but the gray shields are great because they can block. So I'm strength with a lot of item. Like I have like equip talismans that like make my item load lower.
Oh, cool.
So I wear like heavy armor. I'm wearing a great shield, and then I have a big mace.
Nice.
And the mace has blood loss, which even if it didn't, the best thing about this game are the Ashes of War, which I don't know if that existed in other games. But I had a friend who was like really excited about it.
So
yeah,
to my knowledge,
he was like super excited about it because you could basically make any weapon you like that you look into, make it to a weapon you would like want to use, like because you can add all these Ashes of War to give it an effect, whether it's like lightning or magic or all this stuff. So
I have an Ash of War that gives me holy damage on my weapon because I'm like a paladin. So
Jake, you have the most internet-y build of us all, I think, right? You're doing something special.
Yeah. So that was my only thing that I did when I started this game was I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, and I looked up because I know it's cool to go into these games blind.
I would say the opposite.
And
this is a game where you should look things up.
You go into the game blind for the story and elements, but not for like your build and items.
So I haven't looked at much items, but I have now researched like what sword I think I want eventually. Because I'm getting to the point where, like I've never switched my main weapon. I've only used my same sword. So I
was like that for 30 hours. I was using just same.
So I'm like 27 hours, 28 hours in. I'm a confessor, which is like the faith-based build. But I'm going for like a paladin road where I'm like heavy armor, heavy shield, but that uses a bunch of faith magic. And my height is 6'1". I'm tall, but like not really tall, but like taller than Ted. So just to put that out there. So I want to, I guess like my internet-y build was I just wanted to be able to like know what I could do with blocking because I've never played a Souls game with blocking. And
the blocking is actually the first. Actually, no. Sekiro had like a little.
And didn't Dark Souls? Right? Isn't Dark Souls kind of blocky? Don't you have shields in Dark Souls?
It didn't
Dark
have
Souls
this.
Is very blocky.
Yes. No, but it didn't have the what do you call
the counter move? No, the counter move's new.
The counter move. Yeah, it's not a repose. I don't know what it's called. Parry. It's not parry.
No. Parry was in Dark Souls.
It's not parry.
But there is that perfect block.
You can do it heavy. You can do a heavy action after they hit your shield, no matter what. And honestly, sometimes it can fuck you over. But sometimes it's amazing because it's like, all right, free hit.
Yeah, free hit.
Yeah. So we're doing the same thing. We're doing shield.
Yeah.
Weapon. And
so
Ted's doing two dual wields.
Two dual wields. And so
I will eventually be switching over to just a normal strength build, which I believe is a shield and a giant sword, or just a giant.
Or you could two-hand. Yeah, you could two-hand one.
Yeah, the blocking is so great in this game, and I have an ability called Barricade where, like I said, slight spoilers. There's an ability called Barricade. I have an ability where I can use magic to like make my shield take hits for like way less stamina. And so like
really good.
I'm taking like boss hits and they're just bouncing off my shield and it's awesome. I beat the second Elden Lord on the first try. I think I'm a little over leveled and I just ran in there and kicked her ass.
Yeah, what's your level? Do you know?
Oh yeah, my level is 54. Yeah.
Okay. To me, so I went. We probably followed the same path. Like I went straight to her after Godric.
Yeah.
And she was way easier than the first two bosses.
Yeah.
Like significantly easier. And then I had a friend who
I don't even know where to go. I don't even know
yeah, I had a friend who went to Godric and then went all the way down like south and then went north past and came back at a later point. And it was they were just blowing past everything in there. And I was like, okay, you know when you went somewhere wrong because you're over leveled, and then that's what happened to them, and it's just the pain.
Or under leveled,
which is really great.
They were under leveled for other areas and over leveled for certain areas.
Yeah, that's where I am. Yeah,
you can't be under leveled to get to Rania because you have to go through certain areas to get there.
True, but I did like a ton more to get to her, and then I was able to like breeze through. Yeah. What I'm most so I'm gonna be honest. This is probably one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Same here. I think someone said it best, game of the decade. It is that good.
I mean, I don't know if it's that because I think Breath of the Wild I still think has something on this game.
That was last decade.
Yeah, that was last decade, Jake.
Okay, we're in the fucking 2 years into this decade. Okay.
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 is pretty fucking good, guys. All right.
It's really easy to say game of the decade at the beginning of the decade.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why you got to say.
Oh my God. But I will agree that this game is like immensely special. And if you didn't like Dark Souls and you don't like that gameplay, it's not going to change your mind. But the openness adds something, I think, to it that helps you get through the more grindy, boring parts of Dark Souls. Or
this could definitely
Bloodborne.
make you a better gamer. That's what I'll say. Like it will trade you to.
Yeah.
Accept death.
Ted, what were you gonna say?
No, just do your best to describe this game to somebody who's never even seen it before.
Okay. Yes. So Elden Ring is
or a Souls-like.
Right. I'm gonna explain Souls-likes.
Yeah, it's like Souls-like.
So a Souls-like game is primarily from the developer From Software. But then there are people that have made their own From Software-like games, like Neo that came out and all that stuff. But what this
Surge.
The Surge, which
Lords of the Fallen. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's
a lot. What's it called? Deadly Class? No, not Deadly Class. What's that game called? Where you're the little blue guy and you're running around the side-scrolling game. Dead Cells. Dead Cells was Dark Souls-like because you had to go pick up your cells. Salt and Sanctuary was legitimately just side-scrolling Dead Souls, or Dark Souls. Anyways,
Titan Souls. There's literally had Souls in there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Souls games.
These games have spawned a genre.
Yeah, and what's
influential,
intricate about these games before Elden Ring is that they were obtuse and hard, and that's the point. They were obtuse and difficult, and I wouldn't say like unfairly difficult, but they are games that you have to really learn to master. They're not a game like a typical like Far Cry third-person game where you can just hop in and you're just like wrecking people. They were a game where you had to learn enemy movesets, you had to learn how to use your weapons, you had to kind of research more in depth on what stuff did because it didn't really tell you. But they were always somewhat linear. They were always games that had a beginning and end to a level, had final bosses. They were linear.
Yeah, if you spawned at the beginning, there was one place to go.
Yeah.
You need to get good to progress to the next boss, and then there's they're linear.
Yeah, and they always had some side paths you could go down and fight alternate bosses and do stuff, but primarily they were like linear old schooler kind of games. And they started with Demon Souls a long time ago and worked their way up to Sekiro, which was their last major one. And then now we're at Elden Ring, and Elden Ring is their open world It is their game that is just entirely open world. Much like an open world like Breath of the Wild, where it's not gated. Really, there are some gates, but you can get around the gates. And I think that's kind of a very interesting part of this game too, is that you don't have to beat bosses to get to the next section. You can actually find places that open up. Like, there is a final boss of the first section. Of Limgrave, there is a final boss, we mentioned his name, Godric. However, you can actually sneak around Godric's castle.
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it.
It tells you.
And I think that's like Breath of the Wild, it is a game that is just wildly open to you. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think a lot of the Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, like comparisons come in, is because it has this sense of like openness like never experienced before. It's not like Far Cry or not Horizon, which I just played. That's like you do an area, you get to the main story part of that area, and now there's new areas. This game is just do whatever you want, and then it goes more and more into doing whatever you want.
And do whatever you want in that it's not going to tell you not to do something, even though maybe you shouldn't do that thing.
Yeah, there's almost like a learning curve to it.
I'll reiterate what I said last week of like where Breath of the Wild makes you feel encouraged to explore. Elden Ring will kick you in the butt if you're heading in the wrong direction.
Right, but it doesn't do the thing, like it doesn't do the opposite of Breath of the Wild, which I think is really cool. It doesn't discourage you.
Yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild obviously was very much like there was we talked about it last week, but like the development mindset of like you can always see your next shrine or tower from where you were, no matter what. The game was designed that way.
You pick them out at the like near the start. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, look at all the towers.
All the stuff, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. And Elden Ring has a very similar thing where you find the map and there are things on the map that are like structures, and you can ping that and be like, I want to go to that structure. Or as you're riding, you just see something fucking weird. And you're like, what is down this pathway? Oh my God, it's a vampire lady that's singing. What the fuck? I don't know if you've experienced these people. They're creepy as shit.
The singing one was great because I walked up to it and I was like, oh shit, I just walked into a trap.
And then I whooped its ass.
Yeah.
Yes, that's for me like what. So for instance, I really believe this is one of the best games I've ever played because of that sense of exploration, the openness, but also it found a way to make me feel small in this open world.
The scale of this game, which I brought up with you, Jake, is just like I was like, how like they already had it. Like I was like, okay, this is big, it's pretty good, and then it just gets bigger, and then the scope of the game, and I don't know about you, but it is run so incredibly well for me. I've only probably crashed one time in my entire 60 hours, which is incredible for this type of game, for this scale. It's unbelievable. And
we're all playing on different systems, right? You're on PC, Ted's on Xbox, I'm on PlayStation. I've had no performance issues.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've as again speaking to last week, I had that internet connectivity issue at the beginning, but that is fixed and no issue since.
Yeah. Have you played co-op with anybody? Has anybody?
Yeah.
I haven't done co-op yet because like a lot of my friends like haven't done things that I've done and they've done things that I haven't done. So it's like we're kind of like waiting till the end to do co-op stuff, which
I'm going to try it this weekend. So I'll let you guys know how it feels in place.
I did do invading though. Just to see. I was like, all right, I have this invade, and it's awful.
Yeah, I would not want to do it.
You walk into a 2v1 because what happens is whenever you invade, you always invade someone who's co-oping. That's basically like your penalty for co-oping is you're going to be open to an invade. But however, the co-op person could also bring someone in to help them. Yeah. So it could be it'll be a 3v1 or 2v1 minimum.
And you're fucked.
Get good.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
I mean, you have to kill the host, and you know who the host is. So if you can kill the host and not the other ones, you can win. But it's very, very unfair.
And I think what's also really great about Elden Ring for us in general, but like I think for everybody, when it seems like the internet, is the discoveries being made and us texting each other about stuff. Like James texted me like, I don't know, 5 days ago, and he was like, Jake, something happened in this game that just made me like stop in awe. It was incredible. And I mentioned, I was like, oh my God, James, I found an underground section. Like, what was yours? And he went, oh, that was it. That was the moment. I was like, oh yeah, it's the same place. Like I found this whole like a new world. And he was like, yeah, that's what I found.
Yeah, where you go down the elevator for like 3 minutes straight and there's the mine shaft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Incredible. Yeah. So there's just moments like that, I think, where it's like water cooler moments that we can all gather around and talk about, which is really cool.
Well, because it's because the game doesn't tell you about them.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Or say that it's happening. It's up to you to figure it out.
No, that's what I like about this game is that you have to discover this world by looking around, interacting with people, interacting with objects, talking with them.
Mhm.
Like you talk with like some random vendor or like even like the person on they'll tell you like, oh, this, or even we have the round table, so we all know.
Yeah.
Talking with people at the round table and they'll tell you about like, oh, this person did this, oh, this house does this, and it's like, oh, so I have to go do this. Like, oh, who do I want to join? And it's like, oh, well, what? It definitely, like, on the surface it looks plain and simple, but it is, the scope of what they've accomplished with this game is unlike anything they've ever done before.
Yeah. I mean, it's unlike anything I've really played before, because even, here's my thing. Breath of the Wild, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, good.
Okay. Breath of the Wild was a game built on emptiness. And Elden Ring is to an extent too. But the characters in Breath of the Wild didn't interact with you like some of the characters in this game, in my opinion, of like, you accidentally start these insane quest lines.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a moment in Breath of the Wild where like you build a town, like that becomes one of the quests, is like build this town and like recruit people to help you build this town. And it's fucking incredible. And you never need to do this quest. It is completely a side quest. You build a town. That's this game all the time.
Yeah.
But they're not tracking it for you. And they're not telling you.
They're not telling you at all.
Like it doesn't say, okay, you gotta go talk to Bobbin. Bobbin is fucking here, and here's a dot on your map. Go to the dot and talk to Bobbin. No, shit. Where was that person? Oh my god, I don't remember. Yeah, like it's fascinating.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, if you eventually like go everywhere and do everything, you can beat the game. Like you can just get through every single story. However, for the most part, you got to be like vigilant, because once what happened to me is like I talked with this one guy one time and I was like, I came back and he's like, hey, have you gotten that thing for me yet? I'm like, what thing? What was I supposed to get you? Tell me. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. Damn it, why did I write it down?
Do you guys have any standout stories so far in your playthrough that like this is one of these moments that makes me like describe what Elden Ring is? Or like do you have like a moment that like stands out above all else?
I'm trying to think of, there isn't anything with like bosses necessarily, although kind of beating your head against that first boss is pretty, it's an eye opener for sure. Like it's not even the first Elden Lord, it's just the first boss, Margot or whatever.
Yeah.
That boss is definitely there to be like,
actually Margit.
You need to get good at this game.
Yes.
Like that was a real eye opener of like, because you get there really quick. And then it just kicks the shit out of you and you're like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I think no,
but they know that was gonna happen.
Yes.
Like it's the only boss you go to where you can get like the summon and like have all this help to help you beat it. Even though like it can kind of gimp you, because of course they get more health, but you can use the items like available to you to beat this boss. They're not unbeatable. They're like they're kind of like, hey, you need to get better, or you need to go out and explore. But that's how you're going to get past me.
That's what's so great about Margit is that he is a boss that teaches you without telling you. It teaches you that this is not a normal Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
This is not a normal Souls game where you run to the path and you fight me. You now need to go do other stuff to get better to fight me. Right. And I think that's like the game design is so brilliant in that sense.
Yeah. No, I would say that my biggest moment, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life, the red part of the map.
Khalid? Khalid?
I believe it's Khalid or Khalid.
Yeah.
Anyway, the starting area is called Limgrave. It's very green. It's very England, European-y, medieval. You know, it's standard. I believe it's a Renaissance theme that they're going for.
Yes.
But I just, through purely not being able to beat the bosses, I would go exploring, and eventually I got to Khalid or Khalid, which is like plagued. It's like red and disgusting.
The sky is red.
Yeah, it's like it's otherworldly, and just going there and wandering around and kind of knowing that any enemy I saw was probably going to kick the shit out of me, but just kind of wandering into this scary alien world and just kind of figuring myself out was just a wildly cool experience. It reminded me a lot of like an MMO where you're allowed to just go other places, even if they'll kick the shit out of you. And just that sense of exploration and adventure, but also fear was top notch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The game has a very like D&D approach to certain situations. Like you discover this kind of cave and you're like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And it can open up to something like you wouldn't expect. It's just like, oh, here's a cave, but you go in and there's a bunch of traps and you have to open up this mechanism to open up this gate to fight the boss, and you're like, what the heck? It's just like a little minor cave, and it has this full like kind of like line like all different like enemies and different like trap types and things you got to watch out for. It's like what?
Yeah, that might be another thing, is that like for those people who liked original Dark Souls, those legacy dungeons, where it is a very kind of a linear path, but like the linear path is unlocks you shortcuts and kind of different ways to do different things. That is still in the game too. So I would say once I got into the castle, and I won't say anything more than that, I had a great time kind of reverting back to the old school. Like I just need to get through this thing really well, and that will unlock a shortcut, so I don't have to do it again.
Yeah, that's where I was in the last show, and I think that's what stood out to me at that point in the game was like, oh, it's not just an open world; it has also got these massive dungeons, and I think that's just like
with birds,
fucking with birds with swords,
goddamn
swords on their legs. I was so
those are the worst things.
They're so funny.
That's the thing is, this game has so many, like, the opposite of laugh out loud, like shout out loud, of just like me yelling at the TV because I wasn't ready for the ridiculousness that it throws at you.
The sword birds that throw TNT at you,
they throw. Oh my god, they throw explosives at you.
There are hand enemies. There are walking
the hand
hands.
enemies are ass.
Yeah.
The big hand enemies are worse.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, as with a lot of these other Dark Souls or Souls-like games, the creativity is still on point here.
Yeah.
The world that they made is just weird and creepy. Like I had this thought a couple days ago. I was like, I need to play something else just to kind of get out of this kind of like
mindset,
morose, like, because it's beautiful, but it's also all depressing in a really fascinating way.
Yeah,
it's a very sad game.
It really is.
There's a lot of sadness in the game, which I feel like that's kind of like Elden Ring and the Dark Souls. There's no one just happy to be there. Like maybe one NPC, but everyone has like a story, or everyone's like, okay, this has got to do this and this.
Yeah, everyone has a story, but they're not going to tell it to you.
No, they're not going to tell it to you, and they're not going to tell you the purpose of it. Yeah. I had a moment where I've been doing this quest line. I pledged my allegiance to someone, which is something that you get to do eventually. You find people that you would pledge your allegiance to, and I did it to this one lady, and I started doing their quest line. They opened up a bunch of new people, and they're like all doing this thing. So I'm doing this thing with them now. And then I've come to where I'm supposed to meet the next woman, and she just doesn't exist there. And I actually have to go online and like, why doesn't this lady come here? Like, why isn't she here? So if you kill somebody in your game that serves a story purpose, they're gone. However, there is a temple where you can go and like absolve your sins, and it basically resets all the NPCs.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So I had to go do that. I had to go find this temple, and I didn't look up where the temple was. I was like, I just am gonna find this temple organically. Yeah. So I'm riding all over this fucking map, all over the lakes, trying to figure out where this temple is, and I'm pinging different like structures on the map. I'm like, maybe that's a temple. Blah blah blah. So I find like a shack. I park it there, go to the site of grace, and as I'm coming down the road, there is a like huge golden knight. And he and I start fighting. He's using lightning magic, and he's got this huge sword. I kill him, and I get like a prayer book. And all my stuff is like incantations, which is like holy stuff. It's like holy prayers. Now I can shoot lightning. I gave it to a person to teach me now how to shoot lightning.
Yes.
So now I'm a paladin that with his faith magic drops lightning bolts on people. And I'm like, oh my God. Like
that's a very powerful move.
It's so cool. Like that happened on my way to find a temple. I found the temple. Now a turtle teaches me magic. I just want to tell you guys that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of said it last week. I don't think this is a game you should play blind. I think knowing that the internet is a resource for you is critical to progressing through this game.
I think you should be blind to like the main bosses and all that, but definitely not to like if you get really stuck on something, you how do you progress? I've had this happen with people where they didn't really understand what they needed to do or where they needed to go, and I feel like there's always something to do. There's always something you gotta like discover on the map or to progress. You'll find something to do.
My philosophy was like, I'm going to look up the solution to my very specific problem.
That's what I do.
If I just have a really general question, I'll just look that up. Like at some point, I ran out of the consumable that makes your sword light on fire for damage, fire grease. And I was like, can I make more fire grease? And I Googled that and found out that you can.
Yeah, I haven't done any crafting or any like that.
I have not crafted, and I probably should.
I need to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if I'm at a place where I'm stuck, I'll look up specifically where to go from there and then stop. And I think that is a really important resource. And I absolutely love the multiplayer parts of this where people can leave messages.
Oh,
Because out of sheer goodwill, people, at least on Xbox where I'm playing, are like actually helpful or funny, and those are great too.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they're helpful, but I don't know if you got to the point where they can actually like fuck you over, because they'll be blocking like a ladder that you can't reach from a boss, or a lever.
Yeah,
and you get fucked over because the message is
No,
right
there's
there.
a pretty good system to sort through your options.
Yeah.
No, but you have to like, but not in the moment when a boss is at you, you're trying to get on the ladder, and there's a message on the ground.
Oh yeah, you're fucked.
Like, that's the most annoying thing ever.
Yeah, you're fucked in that situation.
Just like being alone and scared, and then seeing a message on the ground that just says like, good job. First of all, well done.
A bunch of bloodstains.
Second of all, crap
the bloodstains are so
when
great.
you see a lot of bloodstains, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. When you go to a corner and you see a whole bunch of bloodstains, you're like, I think maybe something's around the corner.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that leave messages that will just say, get ready for something incredible.
Yeah.
And so far, every time I've read one of those messages, something incredible has followed. Yeah. Like something just, I mean, I texted James about this moment. I don't know if I said it last on the podcast, but I went to a tower, opened up a treasure chest, and was teleported away.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I think everybody kind of does this, because I've talked to everybody that I think now does this. I then was like, whoa, where the fuck am I? So I hit my map, and it didn't show me on the map. And I had to zoom out, and the map got bigger. And I was like, holy shit, there's more to this game than I thought. And that's just like, what a feeling of like,
bigger than I thought.
Oh, it's way bigger.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's to the point where it's like, how could they have like kept this under wraps? Because I feel like any other company, like this is a testament to From Software, would have bragged out the ass about like the scale of this map, or like all this stuff. You would have been spoiled beyond your wildest belief. So this company to like hide everything and like let you discover and let you go at it.
Yeah.
Hats off.
I saw a great thing today where someone was commenting about like how Dying Light 2, like their big thing was like they promoted that it was 500 hours of content, right? And Elden Ring didn't say shit.
No, yes, they were so quiet about this thing, and like let the game speak for itself.
They were so confident.
It's gonna pay like.
And thank God they got to delay this game by a few months. Like thank God they got to push it to where it is, because it just added that polish that I'm sure it just desperately needed.
Yep.
And it's perfect. It's so good.
It went from like super mixed reviews at the start for Steam to very positive. So like right away they were addressing issues and fixing issues, and they're on the ball. And now I'm not sure like what the complaints are now, like if any. Well,
and the game is so user friendly where like even you can respec your character. Like there is a moment where you can just respec. And I don't know, can you change your class, or can you just change your points?
You cannot change your class. You can respec, but it's some work. Like Jake, I think you just got to where you're allowed to.
Yes. No, I did. I just unlocked a lady that lets me respec.
But so the class, like your starting class, just is your starting attributes.
Yeah.
Like like you can go like 10, 10, 10, 10. So it doesn't really like add anything to it. It's just like how big of a start can you have towards Faith or towards Int or towards Arcane. So when you respec, you can like, oh yeah, I'm gonna totally change my build to be like a mage.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like this Vagabond build. I'm gonna go for
whatever. Yeah. Like Parker right now is playing a pure sorcery build. Like he is just a mage that sits on a horse and throws spells. And he's like, I'm getting kind of fucked in certain areas. Oh no, my camera died. But he's like, I'm getting like kind of fucked in certain areas. And
he died a lot.
Yeah, he died a lot. Okay, am I back?
You're good.
Okay. But yeah, he was like, I'm getting just kind of fucked in like certain areas because I don't have any defense. So he's like, now I've told him, I was like, okay, I got to the point where you can respec, go beat this person, and then it'll unlock this thing. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go respec because I need to be like more of like a battle mage or something. Like I need to be able to block stuff in defense. So I was like, yeah, I love that they've given that into the game. Yeah. So. Is there anything about Elden Ring you guys do not like or wish was different?
I mean, I'll reiterate what I said last week. I struggled in my first 5 or so hours. This game is not, there are no training wheels whatsoever. I mean, to the point where like there's in your kind of introductory tutorial-y, you're following the directions. You get to a merchant. If you don't buy the crafting item, you don't learn how to craft.
Yes.
So there are a bunch of little things like that where I really struggled in the beginning. Because
I had to be told about the crafting item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do not. The game does not explain itself at all to you. So I would say the beginning can be a little tough. But I would say work through it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning is the hardest part, and then it gradually gets easier.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other like complaints, and other than this whole like, you need to understand that this game is going to be difficult and it's not going to explain itself to you. The internet is a resource, and you shouldn't feel bad or ashamed for using it. Then the world of Elden Ring just really opens up, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. James, anything for you?
Dark.
I don't think there's anything that's bad in the sense that like this is but there's definitely been enemies that have I feel like you'll run into this probably towards the end, but there's 150 bosses in this game, and there's only 75 unique ones.
Yes.
So
I've gotten to the
there's
clones.
sometimes where you'll see a boss more than once, and I think the most that a boss repeats is like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. But I wish what they would have done, kept the boss, but changed the move mechanics maybe. Like that could be fine. Like I understand like you're reusing like the same sprite, and of course that 150 that's plenty. Like you've done way more than you need to. Like that's 75 unique bosses, incredible.
Yeah,
but at least change the moveset, so it's not the same thing.
I have heard that a lot of the boss mechanics are reused from Souls-like games in the past.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I initially heard that and thought, oh, that must be a bad thing. But a lot of people who have a history with these games have said, like, no, this is just like what my years of training was for.
Yeah.
And when I heard that multiple times from multiple people who have loved these games for the past 7 to 10 years. And, I was like, oh, well, if you guys love that this is like just a test, a final exam to your years of study, then that's awesome.
Yeah. I have friends who are like really, really into Dark Souls games, and they are blown away. I have one who's already beaten the game, starting a new character, gonna go for all 5 endings. Like, they are so dedicated, trying to get every item, trying to like do every build. There are people who are super dedicated to this game and will probably be playing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to additional content, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do.
They've done DLC for all of their games, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Can you imagine the additional content for this kind of game?
It's going to be an island. It's going to be horse armor.
That would be amazing.
No, Jake, you were bringing this up, and I think it's going to be true, like what you're talking about, with like a boat that you can go out. Maybe
I think that might be a thing, like a way to traverse the water.
I guess my only actual technical complaint is no crossplay yet.
That will not be a thing.
I don't think it's going to be a thing.
That will not be a thing. It's not possible.
That's just the teeniest bit of a gripe.
I would agree.
Like, I bought it on Xbox as a single player game, and I didn't really have any intention of playing it co-op, and found out later that there are so many co-op elements, and so to suddenly hear that like everyone I know who bought it on Steam will never be able to play with me, kind of a bummer, kind of a first world 2022 issue, but
you're playing it on a Series X instead of a PC, so you have at least your power's good. Like you're at like the best specs, like for the game that it's built for on Xbox.
Yeah, but so kind of a newer issue, but still something to consider.
I would agree.
If your friends are playing this on a certain platform, maybe follow them.
I'm very bummed that James and I can't hop in together and just run around and dick around. That's about it.
I think just in general, another complaint would probably be the Japanese netcode and From Software has never been good, and the co-op experience would be nice, but it's not co-op throughout. It's co-op for certain sections, so we'd have to like go to a section co-op, go to a section.
That's true,
co-op.
yeah.
So it wouldn't be like seamless. Like
it is not. It is not seamless co-op,
which would be great if that was a thing. But
because I think in this game too, you could just hop into someone's world and it wouldn't matter. Like it's not like Dying Light where like I got to do the same story mission again. Like I don't know, but I could see it like being like, okay, well we don't want to level 99 always helping this guy fight Godric. You know,
you can drop it anytime.
It does seem.
Oh, that's right. It should scale
so close to an MMO that it's like, oh guys, just make that push. Just let me see other real people wandering around in the world.
There's no way. It's just too much. There's too much going on. There's way too many elements.
No. Like realistically, no. But also, just it just feels that like that good to where you could just be like, oh, if we could just integrate this with other people's experiences.
I don't want to see it. I hate looking at the freaking ghost spirit shade things running around.
Oh, really?
It's my least favorite part of this game. I hate it.
I beat a boss, and then I see all the other ghosts who've also just beaten the boss, and we all just cheer together.
Ugh, I don't like it.
It's
not
great.
for me.
That weird, empty, asymmetric multiplayer where you know other people are feeling what you're feeling, but you can't.
Yeah.
But
it's beautiful.
Can't you just play offline, Jake, and never see those?
But I like the messages. See, I'm picky, James. Because I like the messages has helped me.
I hate the messages. It's like maybe I should just play offline, but I don't know. I sometimes you see a funny blood stain and you just gotta.
I like the messages. They've helped me out.
I love the messages so much. I'm starting to like think about the messages outside of the game because they're structured. You have to build them out.
Yeah.
Where it's like
liar.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just
and then you read that message, you're like, oh,
that guy was lying. A lot of the time is liar ahead, and the guy's like secret passageway, and you're just like swinging against a wall.
Yeah. Sometimes I just see liar ahead, and it's like, okay, I know there's nothing there just because it just says liar.
Yeah, it's a great game. Everyone plans on finishing this game.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna do my best. Yeah.
That's all we can ask for. Ted.
I'm definitely at a point where there's a really hard bosses, and so I'm starting to get better. Like I was close to beating it last night. It's just I just didn't spend enough time. So now it's like, well, maybe I should look at what crafting does. Maybe I should actually grease up my mace.
Yeah.
Figure out what.
I intend to play a lot of the side stuff and not like fully focus on the main story. My goal is to unlock all the areas, and then I'll beat it. But my goal is to just do as much as possible in this game.
Yeah. Well, I think right before I do go for like the ending, I'm gonna make sure I have everything
you want
done.
Yeah.
At least like all the main stuff done. That's what I'll say.
It's such a good game. There's just I don't know if I'm thinking about this too much, but all of the main humanoid enemies that you fight, can you kill them and get all their gear? Like, is all of their stuff available besides bosses? Like the knights that walk around, the mages that walk around. Like,
yes.
I have no idea.
The mages, the knights, it's a chance to drop.
Yeah, but they drop all. Like you can get hypothetically all their armor.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Their sword, their shield, their all their stuff.
Yeah.
However, there's for certain NPC ones, like where eventually you can get their stuff. Sometimes they won't drop everything.
Yeah.
Like they'll be missing like a helmet or their armor or.
Yeah, and I've heard like there's a lot of quest stuff you have to do to get to that point.
True. You can't just get it right away.
Some
of them you can.
You'll see the coolest dude ever is in one of the loading screens with like the wolf head, like the wolf helmet.
Oh yeah.
And eventually you get all of his armor, and I know what quest line that is, and that's the quest line I'm like really trying to do because I want all of that guy's fucking armor. I want a wolf helmet. It's dope. Any final thoughts or are we?
No, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, as you guys progress more, and once you guys get into the more northeastern part of the map.
Okay.
I want to talk about like one thing that happens there. That's to me is like one of the strongest moments of this game.
Wow.
Because it's so simple, but it's like very powerful.
Okay. I'm excited to talk to you about it. I can't wait. We will talk a lot more about Elden Ring this year on this podcast and just in our general conversations. So
right. It's gonna be hard to like get through this year without bringing up Elden Ring. That's what I'll say.
I know.
It's like, but Elden Ring did this and Kirby's doing this.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, there's the thing about this year with just games in general. Elden Ring has come out, and it has encapsulated this podcast, the gaming ecosystem.
Yes.
It is still not a lock for Game of the Year. Like, it's still not like there are heavy hitters.
I don't see how. I mean, I can see God of War definitely like getting up there, but to me, this beats out a lot of the other games that will come out.
Yeah,
except for God of War.
If Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, man, and that game does something rapidly different, I don't know. I'm just saying, I can't discount it.
If it doesn't do anything different, though, that's a real pain in the ass because Elden Ring's going to overshadow it like crazy. So
I think so, too.
They could extend it. But yeah.
Kirby looks terrible. We all know
I saw the demo.
Looks
the
great.
boss fights were like...
So excited.
You one slash and they're dead.
James, you're locked into this game. You're excited about it. Let's see your Kirby skills.
Not anymore.
Play on that OLED, baby.
Oh my!
I really hope it's actually just the same as Elden Ring, just as precise and difficult. You have to roll.
Yeah,
it looked like a 3D Mario like RPG kind of.
Oh, that's exactly.
It wasn't really open. I know, but it's not like open world.
No, apparently it's level based. It's actually level based. Ted, just make sure you put a lot of points into Kirby's intelligence, okay? All right, cool. Thank you so much for watching the Side Escape Gaming Podcast, episode 90. My name is Jake. That's Ted. That's James. And we will see you next week.